Before you close the payroll year, you should perform certain tasks to ensure your data is complete and error-free. In this lesson, learn how to identify and correct payroll audit errors. You can audit and repair some of the stored balances of each employee record before you file quarterly or yearly payroll reports or perform the payroll year-end close. You'll find the audit and repair functions in 537 Payroll Audit. Let's discuss the payroll audit feature first. The audit feature compares the quarterly totals for each payroll calculation to the employee totals stored on the employee record. The audit searches for check dates that do not fall within the correct payroll quarter and identifies uncomputed and unposted payroll records. The repair function recalculates the gross wages, Social Security, and Medicare totals, which display on employees' records. The repair function also recalculates the quarterly totals for each payroll calculation and compares them to the quarterly totals in the employee record. If the recalculated totals do not match the stored totals, there's a variance. Variances can result from several factors, which include incorrectly calculating Social Security and Medicare taxes on hand-computed checks. It can also include changes to payroll calculations after you compute payroll records. You should correct any variances before you perform the close payroll process. We'll discuss the one exception to this rule later in this lesson. To begin the payroll audit process, select 537 Payroll Audit. Let's look at the audit process first. Click Audit. When the audit is complete, a message displays that shows the count for the following if the program encounters any issues: audit errors, uncomputed records, unposted records, and quarter number to check date mismatches. The audit report includes additional helpful details about the records in question. Click Yes to preview and print the audit report. The audit report prints any errors you have with the related payroll records to assist in research and resolution. In this example, there are no audit errors, but there are a few uncomputed payroll records. To correct uncomputed record errors, you'll need to final compute the payroll records in the list. To perform a final compute on any of these payroll records, open 523 Compute Payroll and select the Final Compute option. Use the filters to limit to the specific records in the payroll audit report. To confirm all audit errors are complete, rerun the audit in 537 Payroll Audit. Click Audit. When the audit completes, click Yes to print the audit report. Let's look at some of the other errors you may receive when you perform the audit. You may receive messages for unposted payroll records. There was a final compute processed on these records, but the records were not posted to the general ledger. To correct unposted payroll records, open 526 Post Payroll to GL, enter the filter criteria, and post the payroll. There is an exception when you correct payroll audit errors. The exception is if there is a third-party payroll service. If your company uses a third party to process payroll, you do not have to post the payroll records. However, you must final compute in order to create job cost records. Although it isn't typically recommended, you can close the payroll year with audit errors. Another error you may see in the payroll audit is quarter number does not match check date on record number. This error indicates that a check date does not fall within the dates of the quarter used on the actual payroll record. For example, if you use quarter 1 on a check, the program determines the check date should fall between January 1st and March 31st. We'll refer to this as quarter and check date mismatch. To correct the mismatch, open 522 Payroll Records and locate the record the payroll audit indicates is in error. Determine if the check date or quarter date is correct. In this example, the check date is correct, but the quarter is not. To correct this, click in the quarter box and change the value to the correct quarter. Then click Save. If the check date was incorrect, click in the check date box and change the date. After you address all of the payroll errors, return to 537 Payroll Audit. This time, perform the repair option to recalculate all employee totals. In some cases, it's possible that when you run the repair option, not all audit errors are fixed. If this happens to you, from your desktop, select Home and Resources, Sage Support, Live Chat to contact Customer Support. Customer Support will work with you to fix audit errors you cannot solve in the ways this lesson covered. In this lesson, you learned how to identify and correct payroll audit errors.